Okay, guys, here we are again. We are now looking today at chapter 3.2 of the Cuban Missile Crisis chapter. Okay, you should have already read your textbook on how the chapter unfolds, and now I'm going to tell you where we are at. Okay, we are here, chapter 3.2. Okay, so what we're going to look at today first is the introduction. The crisis itself actually happens when Cuba is here, right? The USSR then puts missiles on Cuba secretly. And then the USA, they will see it. And then they will be horribly surprised. Because when there are nuclear missiles near your land, of course you'll be shocked. And then they will react, okay? And that is what, in a nutshell, the events of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Okay, sorry, I glitched there. So, but the first question is, of course, why did Cuba allow missiles to be put on its soil? Okay, so that is what we are going to look at today. For this lesson, I will be giving there will be an overview of the concepts involved as well as things that we need to look at. All right. So this is the second part. This is called nearly the end of the world, right? How come the USA and the USSR, the Soviet Union, how did they get to the brink of nuclear war? That means they nearly went to war. The world nearly ended in nuclear fire. Okay. This is quoting out of context. Of course, Robert Frost wrote this in 1920 before nuclear weapons were invented. But I think it is quite apt, right? Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. Let me explain. Okay, if I am the USA and you are the USSR, okay, and I fire one, okay, that's a terrible nuclear missile. If I fire a nuclear missile at you, what will you do? You will fire 2 or 3 nuclear missiles. And if I am the USA, what will I do? I will fire more. Okay, so what happens is that the whole world, the sky will be full of nuclear missiles, and when all these nuclear missiles hit, we have studied Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we know what happens. Okay, so the world will go up in flames. Okay, that is what we are talking about when we're talking about the fire of nuclear apocalypse. But what is nuclear winter? Nuclear winter works like this. If this is the globe, okay, not a very well-shaped globe, what happens after all the nuclear missiles hit is that there are clouds of ash and debris that are thrown up, which means that the theory is that there will be there will be so much ash and debris that they will form a new layer in the atmosphere. And because of this, the light of the sun cannot penetrate. Okay, sorry. It comes in and it bounces off. And therefore, without light, what will happen? Life on Earth will cease to exist as we know it. Okay, if you have watched The Matrix, okay, please go and watch The Matrix. (1999), when Morpheus is explaining to Neo what happened, he says, but it was us who first scorched the sky. That is what they are talking about. Okay, and that is actually not so far from reality, right? The Matrix is science fiction, well, it's also philosophical, but if you look at it, nuclear winter was not that far off. Okay, and that is what we are going to look at today. How come the world can end up in such a state? So this is what is happening. There were missiles on Cuba. They were ready to fire. Okay, they were actually ready to fire. Okay, and America was standing by in Florida, ready to invade Cuba. So, what caused such a chain of events? That is what we are interested in. Okay, so this is the chapter overview. When you are revising, this is what you should look at. Okay, the motivations of the Soviets. Okay, so why the Soviets put nukes to Cuba, the reasons for the American reaction, how they reacted, why they reacted. Okay, we constantly need to remind ourselves on what are the priorities and the interests of the nations that we are talking about. These 3 champions. Okay, so this is how we are going to look at the chapter. This chapter is split. I've split it into 3 parts, which is firstly the Soviet installation of the missiles. Why did they put the missiles there? Okay, After that, there will be a discovery lah. Then the Americans will respond. What motivates the response? Okay, and because of the American response, there is escalation. Okay, how will the Soviets react to that? Okay, so remember the end point of this chapter. At this point, shall we say, there is a crisis and it is escalating, right? The amount of tensions are increasing. So that is what we are going to be discussing. Okay, so the next lesson will be about why the Soviets put missiles on Cuba. To sum up, what are you supposed to know? The three main actors, okay? USA, USSR, Cuba. What do you need to know? One, what are their actions? And two, what are their motivations? Okay, once you know this, from there, you can work out the rest of what is going on. Okay, that is where we will end.